Hey everybody, it's your old pal Tim. So this is going to be a little different from what I normally do because I normally like stream a game or something, but I don't know. I figured I'd offer some variety of content, and we're going to talk about food trucks because I own one. In fact, I own. Is it going to do? Yes, I own this one. So it is a food truck called the Melting Truck. For those of you that don't know it, let's see if we can get a better picture of it. Ooh, or Instagram won't load. That's not a better picture. Well, this is my food truck's Instagram. Anywho, and that's a pretty decent picture. Although that's not an actual picture of the truck. That's a picture that the people who did the wrap sent over, like a 3D rendering of it. But yeah, there's my goofy face. That's my partner, and these are like, this is the logo for the truck and all that. Pretty cool. But yeah, so I own a grilled cheese food truck called the Melting Truck, and we bought the truck in 2020, right in the middle of the pandemic. The best time to buy a food truck. We actually bought it September 2020, and we bought the truck used, not the way it is right now. And man, I wish I could find some old pictures of that. But it used to be like this horrible green colored Italian street food truck from Maryland. And we bought it. I had to drive it back. I'd never driven a truck like this ever. Like, this used to be an old FedEx Freightliner step-up van that they converted into a food truck. Let's see if the Instagram has any like interior pictures. Like any big interior pictures. More pictures of the food truck. Come on, did I take any interior pictures? I must have at some point taken an interior picture of the truck. Oh, that's kind of the interior, I suppose. There we go. This is the picture of the grill, picture of the prep cooler. So when we bought the truck, it had like typical like basic restaurant stuff, right? So the kitchen they put in there had a 3-foot stainless steel grill, which is this thingy right here. This guy right here. It also came with a 6-top oven. Both of them were powered by propane. It came with a sandwich prep cooler, which is this guy right here. Although we had to get a new one. That's a story. And sinks, coolers, a service window, everything you need to run a food truck. Let's see if we got some good. Those are pretty good pictures of it. Right, we'll leave it. Actually, I liked the ones before that. They were down here. There we go. That's a good bunch of pictures. So, yeah, my partner and I bought the truck back in 2020. I think it was almost exactly 2 years ago this month. And I had to drive it back from Maryland. Now, like I said, I'd never driven a Freightliner step-up van before, and I had to drive it all the way from Maryland to Connecticut. which should be about a 5-6 hour drive. But it wasn't. We had to take the long, long way because the truck don't drive very fast. I think the top speed on the speedometer is 85 miles an hour, and I don't think I've ever reached that speed on the truck. In fact, I don't think I've ever been faster than like 65. So driving up I-95 on that thing was a fucking nightmare. Everyone on the road hated me, and my partner had to follow behind on the truck. He had to follow close behind because Connecticut doesn't issue temporary license plates, and neither does Maryland if you're taking a vehicle to another state. So I had to drive the truck with no license plate from Maryland to Connecticut, and I had to avoid New York City. So we couldn't take I-95 the whole way. We had to take I-95 to 84, which leads you through like the mountains in New York, and some just you got a tour of rural Pennsylvania and New York. It was ridiculous. It took us, like I said, 5 hours to get down there in a regular car. It took the food truck 11 hours to drive back. So I had to drive 11 hours, mostly all highway, but there were bits that were like rural roads. And it was just crazy. The truck is, I'll see if I can find it on the Instagram, but the truck is terribly unbalanced because of the way the equipment is set up in the truck. I don't think it's going to be like on here, but the way the truck is laid out is such that all the heaviest equipment is all the way on the left side of the truck. And, well, it don't make for very good driving because the truck leans to the left a little bit, and because of the way it's profiled.
Hey, everybody. It's your old pal, Tim.
Uh-oh, I can hear myself, and that's a problem.
So this is going to be a little...
There we go. So yeah, if you can see from the pictures, like the way it's profiled, it's just a big box. It's not aerodynamic at all. So some wind takes you on the highway, you get blown around. And not the greatest. So after driving the truck back 11 hours from Maryland to Connecticut, we had to get rid of the awful green color that it used to be. So we had to get a vinyl wrap on it, which is what you see in all the pictures here. We also had to clean it because we bought it used, and the lady who sold it to us left it in, let's call, a state. It had to be cleaned by professionals. It had to be steam cleaned. And it also had to be... it had to be steam cleaned. It had to be power washed. And then it had to be, like, cleaned by hand. Like, that's how dirty it was. It had to be cleaned, like, 3 times. We threw out all the stuff she left us. Like, she was like, take everything that's in there. Pots and pans and all that. We threw it all out. It was all greasy and garbagey. Like, she obviously didn't care about the truck when she was done using it. And we were basically, like, left to pick up the pieces there. Which we did. Like, we had a good, we had a good time cleaning it up. Like, it was interesting. Actually, I take that back. None of the cleaning was a good time. After we'd cleaned it, we had to check to make sure everything worked, right? All the coolers worked. And we turned on the propane. There's a little, like maybe a 40-pound propane tank under the truck by the back left wheel. So driver's side back wheel. There's like a propane tank that was installed there. And the truck had been left inactive for about a year. So when we went to go turn on the propane, there was, I filled up the tank beforehand, turned on the gas for the grill, And we went to go light it, nothing. I think we got one burner to stay on, and it had like 3 burners. And none of the burners on the oven would light at all. So we had to call in a friend of ours who did propane. He was like, "Oh yeah, there's all sorts of holes in your propane lines. Like rats must have eaten through it, or wear and tear, whatever." So whole propane system had to get replaced. Finally got the grills in the oven to light. Um, and then we had planned to open the truck in like, I don't know, October after we bought it in September, and it took way longer than that to get everything together. Not just like structurally on the truck, which became a huge problem, but also all of the paperwork to get the truck licensed and to get like us licensed to run the truck. Just a pain. But if we're going through the horror in order, the propane being fixed was one thing. We had decided that we didn't need the oven that was in the truck. It was this huge, like 6-top oven, and it was, like I said, it was weighing the truck down. It was an extra like 500 pounds on one side that was making the truck unlevel. So we went to basically a scrapyard to have them take the thing out, and we were going to sell it to a restaurant. And the guys at the scrapyard was like, "Hey, there's some big holes in the frame of your truck, like the frame that holds your truck together, big holes." And we were like, "You got to be fucking kidding me!" And sure enough, the parts of the frame that were rusted through was the left side, near like the rear axle, and it was because the truck was heavy on one side and was always leaning to that side, so that's where all the water went. So it rusted through the frame. So we had to get the frame reinforced. He was like, "You were lucky you made it all the way back here from Maryland." So after that, let's see. What happened after that? We got the propane fixed, we got the frame fixed. Then it was starting to get like the food licenses together to operate in the towns. And then what happened after that? It got to be winter, and in Connecticut, winter can be very cold. So the shit froze. Like all of our plumbing froze. And the problem with that is like it was all like PVC pipe. It all cracked and broke. The whole plumbing system needed to be replaced. We went through the water pump broke. This is the nightmare that is buying a used food truck, and something that I would not suggest to anyone. If you buy a used food truck, I suggest like really knowing what you're doing. Yeah, let's try it this way. If it's gonna cause problems, there we go. Maybe that's a little bit better. I seem to be having a slight internet issue, but I will soldier forth. So when we got all that fixed, we got the truck wrapped, obviously. We got all that taken care of. There was an issue with, God, fucking everything. It's 2 years later. I'm still fixing the truck, by the way. We had to take like 3 weeks off for the truck was like leaking oil from everywhere. We had to send it to a mechanic to get it fixed. And because it was a truck that was made 25 years ago, the parts are a little bit harder to come by. But it's not all like gloom and doom. Like there is stuff about the truck that I likes. For instance, making the sandwiches. So fun. Working on a food truck it's got pros and cons. Like, yeah, it's a pain in the ass to maintain all that stuff. And it's a pain in the ass to, clean it. It's a pain in the ass to, because So the way what I always tell people is they're like, "Oh, I want to buy a food truck," and I'm like, "Well, first, don't. That's a terrible idea. Why would you do that?" Um, the second thing I say is when you're maintaining a food truck, you're maintaining a working commercial kitchen and a vehicle at the same time. And there are very few, especially if the truck is used and you're not like the original owner of it or you're not the original constructor of the kitchen, you're going to come across not too many days where everything works all the time. Or at least that's been my experience, right? For instance, uh, we were taking the truck to an event. It was like a yacht club for Memorial Day weekend last year, not this year. And we were all ready to go, setting up everything. And the truck has an onboard like RV generator, which generates all the power that powers the lights and the coolers and all that stuff. So we set up, and the generator is just a you flip the switch and it turns on and you have power. Well, I flip the switch and it just goes crank, 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 and it's like, oh man, what's the problem? It's got fuel. Everything's connected the right way. There's only so much I know about how generators work that I can check, right? Well, after like, I don't know, 10 minutes of trying to get that to work, we go, all right, what's plan B? Well, we can we can plug the truck into an electrical socket. The problem is the truck takes 30 amps and it'll trip anything below that. Like a regular socket, it would probably trip, especially if it has one of those GFI switches. So we have to figure out how to. Oh man, I'm freezing up. Hold on. I'm going to have to turn down the resolution on my camera, maybe. Oh, now I'm gone. Gone. That's bigger, but hopefully that's better. Maybe I'm not freezing up so much. Where was I? Oh, yeah. So we had to plug in the truck to, get power and make sure everything works. And so we were at this yacht club and they put us in like their back parking lot. And I'm running around with like 100-foot extension cord trying to plug into whatever I can. And I'm tripping like every single breaker that I plug into. And the guy who's running the thing comes out and he's like, "What the hell are you doing?" I was like, "Well, I'm trying to get power because my generator's broken." And he's like, "You're tripping every breaker I got." So I had to have my partner bring his like house generator that he has in case of emergencies to bring that to the truck. He's got like one of those massive 9,000-watt Predator generators. And man, I am freezing up a lot. I'm getting all these warnings from fucking Streamlabs. I wonder why I'm freezing up so much. Why is my internet so shitty? Alright, hold on. Let me see if I can fix this. BRB. I assume no one heard a damn word I said. So, because I muted myself by accident. So, you know, like I said, scan the PayPal thingamajiggy so I can have better internet. Damn it. And I'll try this again tomorrow, and hopefully there won't be so many technical difficulties, because my internet is shit. Alright, so, like I was saying while I was muted, tomorrow we'll try this again. I will talk about my adventures with the food truck, and it'll be after Speaking from the Center, which is 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on the Bin Podcast Network. See you next time. It's doing it again. Stupid internet. Hit the button, me.